Takuto was a terminally ill boy who reincarnated into the world of his favorite game after his death alongside his favorite game character. While the two of them decide to build an empire together just like they did in the game, they have no idea that Takuto has been reborn as the legendary king of ruin who will destroy the world so that it can be reborn. Takuto is a terminally ill boy who spends most of his time playing a civilization-building strategy game called Eternal Nations. One day, as he is starting the game again after accomplishing everything, he quietly passes away. He feels like he is sinking into darkness, and when he opens his eyes, he finds himself sitting on a stone throne in the middle of a forest. He doesn't understand what is happening, but then a familiar figure appears in front of him. Takuto immediately recognizes the woman as Atu, the sludge witch, who was his favorite character from the game of Eternal Nations. He remembers how he decided to play Eternal Nations at the most difficult level by picking up the Kingdom of Ruin and Evil, Minogra, as his starting point. Luckily, it came with Atu, a character who is incredibly weak at first, but she absorbs the abilities of the enemies she defeats and becomes the strongest by the end. Atu calls Takuto her king, and he wonders if this is some sort of role-play situation that he needs to go along with. However, Atu tells him that he doesn't need to think so hard about it, because she knows everything already. She knows his name, as well as the fact that he has never touched grass in his life. He was the pro among pros who completed the game on nightmare difficulty with the most tricky civilization. Takuto is astonished to hear that she knows about him being a player and her being a character inside the game, and Atu tells him that she remembers all their games as well. She knows his playstyle as well as all the things he said to her through the screen, and all the times he busted one out in her name. Takuto is incredibly happy on realizing that he can talk to his favorite character face to face, and Atu tells that she is even more happy. He then asks her if this is heaven and if she summoned him to this place, but Atu tells him that she was summoned to this place too. As for the location, she feels that it is like the world of Eternal Nations. She then quickly kneels before Takuto and holds his hand, saying that since they are here together, it doesn't matter what kind of place this is. She says that they should team up again and build a civilization just for the two of them. Takuto doesn't even know what to say as Atu pulls him down from his throne, telling him that they have conquered the world multiple times in the past, and they should consider this a chance for a brand new beginning. Takuto likes the idea, and he asks Atu to serve him to form a glorious civilization, and she gladly agrees. She then pretends to be a badass witch and officially pledges her loyalty to him. But then both of them get embarrassed at those cringe-level dialogues. With that, Takuto tells Atu that she already knows what is the first thing they do at Minogra. She affirms, saying that they will become shut-ins and hide their existence from the rest of the world. The next thing that Takuto does is using his emergency skill to produce a giant-sized bug to scout the nearby area. Takuto and Atu discuss how it is one of their core rules to completely hide their presence from other players in the early game, and scouts like this are helpful to gather information without revealing themselves. Takuto then commands the bug to gather information from the surroundings, and it immediately darts away to do its mission. Atu is surprised because she didn't expect things to go so smoothly in this new and unfamiliar world, and Takuto tells her that he can only share the vision of the bug, just like in the game. He then says that he spent half of his mana to create the scout, and now his best choice is to create a starting settlement for them. He wishes that he had a bit more mana to create a fighter to defend them, but that is not possible right now. Atu gets a bit depressed on hearing this because she is really weak right now and she can't even protect herself. Forget about Takuto. Anyway, Takuto keeps scouting the area through the bug's eyes, and he says that there is nothing but forest here. Atu gets sad because she can't help him right now, but he tells her that her presence is good enough for him, and she gets really happy on hearing this. Just then, the bug comes across a group of poor and tired dark elves. Atu says that this is a good news for them because dark elves are a neutral species, though they incline a bit towards the neutral evil side, and their kingdom is also low-key neutral evil. However, this news worries Takuto, who begins wondering if this is really the world of Eternal Nations. He begins thinking that if there is another civilization nearby, his kingdom is most certainly going to be destroyed right now. But Atu tells him that if they are in any kind of danger, they will flee away together. Takuto tells her that she couldn't be more right, and he decides to keep an eye on the Dark Elves while scouting the area some more for now. While they are doing their silly chants and celebrations, a group of Dark Elves suddenly arrives there. They are as shocked to see Takuto and Atu as they are shocked to see them, and Atu decides to put her life on the line if her master is in any sort of danger. Turns out, the leader of the Dark Elves, Jia, was on a mission to find food for his people who are too tired and hungry to move. His assistant told him that they should not be in this forest because legends say that something incredibly evil is sealed away in this place. But Jia told her that he can't back down just because of that, because his people need him. Just as he was thinking that, he suddenly came face to face with Atu and Takuto, who seemed to him like the avatar of evil. He is struck with fear as he can only see a black silhouette in place of Takuto, and now he is sure that the stories about something incredibly evil in this place are not false. He thinks that if he makes a mistake here, his entire clan could be wiped out, so he quickly kneels before Takuto and introduces himself. His followers do the same, and then Jia apologizes to Takuto for trespassing in his territory. Atu suddenly starts acting like a gangster and says that it is good to see that they know their place. She asks him why did the Dark Elves come here, and Jia begins his sob story to get some sympathy. However, Atu gets bored and tells him to get to the point quickly, scaring the shit out of him. He immediately tells her that his clan was banished by the council, and they are being persecuted even now. Suddenly, Takuto asks him if they faced great difficulty, and Jia freezes from panic. However, when Atu tells him to answer the king's question, he explains that their clan was punished unjustly, and they were forced to enter these cursed lands to stay safe. However, their food supply ended a week ago, and now his people are starving because they haven't been able to find any source of food here. Jia starts thinking about the hardships his clan faced when all they wanted was to live peacefully. He wonders if Takuto will be cruel to them too, but to his surprise, Takuto throws some apples at him, telling him that he should try them out because they are delicious. Jia has never seen apples before, and he is doubtful about them. But his followers don't have his patience, and they begin gobbling down the apples while exclaiming how sweet they are. Takuto suddenly creates some pears too, and Jia is left completely stunned. Atu asks him why is he not eating the fruits that her master has so gracefully given him, and the Dark Elf immediately bows before Takuto, saying that there are more people in his tribe who are starving. He wants to feed them, especially the children before himself, and Takuto takes pity on him. He starts summoning a huge amount of food, much to Atu's horror and Jia's shock. Dark elves like him have always been discriminated against because people believe they belong to the dark side, and no one has ever tried to help them before now. He asks Takuto who exactly is he, but he just tells him to take the food to his people. Jia and his followers soon return to their camp with the food, and everyone finally gets to eat till they are full. Jia, however, refuses to reveal how he got the food to other elves, but at night, while he is sitting alone by the campsite, the clan elder arrives there. He remarks that the fruits he brought earlier were different from anything he has seen in his long life, and they were more tasty than any other fruit. He asks Jia where did he get those fruits from, and he tells the elder about his meeting with the legendary evil being. The elder is shocked because Jia met the King of Ruin who is mentioned in ancient books. He says that according to those books, when the world has become too full, the King of Ruin will appear and destroy the world so it can have a fresh start. Jia feels like Takuto meets the description of the King of Ruin, but truth be told, he couldn't even understand a single thing that Takuto said, and he only acted on hints that he got from Atu's behavior. The elder is not sure about that part yet, but he asks Jia if he gave Takuto anything in return for the food. He says that he didn't give anything in return, and the elder says that no evil being would show mercy to someone without getting something in return. Jia, however, believes that Takuto is a merciful being who took pity on his people's suffering, and that angers the elder. He asks Jia how can he talk about an evil being with such respect, but after a bit of debate, he realizes that Jia did his best and secured food for his people. After that, Elder Molter declares that he will negotiate with the Dark King as the senior-most Dark Elf, and hopefully, their clan will be able to get the peaceful life they have always dreamt of. On the other hand, Atu scolds Takuto for using his mana to create food for the elves when he doesn't have enough for it. But the moment he tells her not to be upset at him because he needs her, she starts acting like a simp again. The next day, Jia gets ready to visit Takuto again, and Elder Molter asks him if he is ready to face the king. He believes that since they have already accepted charity from the Dark King, they must be ready to pay any price he asks in return. Jia objects, saying that Takuto never said anything like that. But Molter replies that it is just the way of nature for evil beings to ask for compensation in exchange of the good deeds they do. However, he agrees that they need to keep relying on Takuto to survive, because no place else is safe for them. The two of them decide to go to Takuto together, unaware that his insect scout was keeping an eye on them the whole time. Takuto immediately calls the bug back to report to him, and when he learns that the elves are coming, he just wishes that they take the rest of the food he prepared for them yesterday and leave quietly. He gets nervous as he explains that he gets nervous and can't communicate properly, so he doesn't know if he can negotiate with the Dark Elves. Atu tells him that she will do it for him, and it will also show the Dark Elves that her king doesn't even talk to the likes of them. Soon after that, Molter and Gia arrive there, and the old elf greets Takuto with some ChatGPT-generated salutation, thanking him for providing food to his people. He then asks if he can know the name of the person who helped them, and on receiving Takuto's permission, Atu shares his name, declaring him as the King of Ruin. Both the Dark Elves are shocked to have their fears confirmed, and then Atu tells them to take the food and leave because it won't last long anyway. However, Molter says that he wants to repay Takuto for the kindness he showed them, and asks what can they offer him in return. Atu simply tells them that they won't have anything that will be able to satisfy her king anyway, so they shouldn't even bother trying. She asks the elves if they really have anything they even consider valuable, and Molter hesitates because there is nothing like that with them anymore. Atu gives him a death stare on seeing him hesitate and asks if he is plotting something. Molter starts panicking and Takuto realizes that the negotiation is going very badly now. He suddenly calls Atu to discuss their approach, and she gets mad because Takuto is planning to be too lenient. She tells him that these two losers don't even know how to negotiate, and at this rate, they will only become obstacles in his path. She suggests killing them all and putting their heads on pillars around their base, but Takuto asks her to stop turning into that one Austrian painter. He says that the elves just want to coexist peacefully with him, and they want to pay him back for the same reason. He suggests that they ask them to pay in a way they can rather than giving them food for free, because it will keep their relationships with the elves good. Atu can't argue with that, and she tells the elves that her king has decided to accept their offerings. On seeing the relief on Molter's face, both Takuto and Atu realize that he was so nervous because he thought of Takuto as the typical evil being. Atu rebukes him for that, but then she gets confused about what to ask in return for the food. Suddenly, Takuto gets an idea, and he tells her to ask the elves about the outside world. Molter is really glad to hear this, and he swears to tell Takuto everything he has seen and heard in the outside world in detail. Atu says that once he has done that, he is supposed to leave the forest with his tribe immediately, and that shocks both Gia and Molter. They say that they would like to keep living in the forest under Takuto's mercy, but Atu tells them to stop being greedy if they want to live. Gia tries to argue, but Molter shuts him up, saying that they need to obey the command of the king. They begin to leave, but now Takuto feels bad for casting them out. He suddenly gets an idea and tells Molter and Gia to become his citizens. Both of them are shocked to hear this, but not as much as Atu, who asks Takuto what the hell is he doing. He reminds her about the refugee system in the game, which allows them to take in different species as their citizens. He remarks that since Dark Elves are a neutral species, they will easily adapt to the evil attribute of their kingdom, and then they can coexist with the other species living in their kingdom. Atu is still doubtful because species with evil alignment tend to have conflicts among each other. But Takuto reminds her that their main species called homunculi look like humans that were taken apart and put back poorly, and they can't spend all their time with them. Atu immediately agrees with him as soon as the creepy image of the homunculi pops up in her mind. She turns to the two elves, telling them that Takuto plans to build a kingdom here soon, and he is ready to accept them as his citizens if they pledge to serve him. Molter is taken aback at this, and he asks Atu what will happen if they choose to become his citizens, and she makes it clear that they will become evil beings, but she tells them that it is more fun than they think to be evil. Soon after that, Takuto and Atu head to the settlement of the Dark Elves, where everyone is ready to welcome him. Everyone is terrified of him, and some of the weaker ones faint just on seeing one glimpse of him. Takuto takes his throne with Atu by his side, who tells the Dark Elves that now they are going to become the citizens of their kingdom Minegra. She asks Takuto one final time if he is sure about it, and just as he gives his permission, the elves are accepted into his kingdom, and Atu congratulates them because now their survival and safety is guaranteed by their new king. Gia wonders if that is all because he doesn't feel any different even though he should have become an evil being. Suddenly, he regrets his words as intense hatred erupts inside him and the other elves. They think about the people who hurt and prosecuted their kind and are filled with the desire to get revenge, and the two normal elves with them are worried about them. Seeing everyone suffering, Takuto asks them if they are fine, and Gia is moved to tears on realizing that someone cares for him and his people now. The Dark Elves start cheering on Takuto with tears in their eyes, and he is low-key overwhelmed by this. A few days later, Takuto receives a map of the continent from Molter, and he crashes out just as he sees it. Atu asks him what is wrong, and he tells her to look at the map and see what a shitty starting position they have. They are on a continent where two huge and powerful civilizations are already present. One of them is the Holy Kingdom of Qualia, a nation of humans who worship the god Arlos, and they are a hardcore good alignment civilization. On the other hand, there is Elnan, the alliance of elementals where elves who worship nature live. They are also aligned to the good side, and Atu panics on realizing that if they find their kingdom, they will quickly erase them. She crashes out along with Takuto, but then he calms down, saying that as long as they are not discovered, they can become stronger. He says that in the game, their main species homunculi are really dumb so they can't do much research, but now that they have dark elves, things should be better on that end. Soon after that, the Dark Elves pay him a visit, and this time, Gia has brought along his assistant Emily with him. He tells Takuto that Emily is a smart nerd, who knows a lot of stuff about other kingdoms, so she will definitely help him out more than them. Atu tells them that the king is pleased with their dedication, and then declares that they are going to take up important jobs from now onwards because it is what Takuto wants. First, she assigns Molter the duty to look over the internal affairs of the kingdom, and says that she has high hopes from him because she has learned that he knows magic as well. Next, she makes Gia the head warrior of Minagra and tells him to build up a strong army so that they can defend themselves. She leaves recruiting soldiers into their army entirely to him, and he gets hyped up, saying that he will kill all their enemies and display their heads as trophies, but Takuto is already grossed out. He says that war is barbaric, and Atu tells the confused Gia that their king prefers peace, so he should keep that in mind. This confuses the elf warrior even further as he wonders why would the king of Ruin love peace. Well, Molter taunts Gia, and then immediately gets up, saying that unlike Gia, who only has muscles instead of brain, he will be more helpful. Gia takes this as a challenge, and he tells Takuto that he is young and strong, so he can work more without rest. Atu doesn't realize that they are just competing to get Big Evil Daddy's attention, and she thinks they are workaholics. She asks Takuto if they should give them a mission to collect resources, and he suggests that they should order them to beautify the terrain and create some houses. Atu immediately conveys this to Molter, telling him to gather enough timber to build homes while leaving the forest mostly intact. Molter says that he will immediately get to it because dark elves are forest dwellers originally. Takuto then tells them to reforest the parts they cut out, and this confuses the elves because they haven't heard the term. Takuto realizes that their civilization might not be as advanced as to understand reforesting, so he asks them if they know about military magic or the 6 major elements. Molter says that he only knows about the 4 major elements, and Emily says that she has never heard of any country using military magic. Takuto and Atu realize that this world is much more primitive than they thought, but it is actually a good thing because once they progress their magic technology, they can quickly overtake other nations. Atu then explains that reforesting means growing new trees in place of the ones they cut off, and the Dark Elves say that they do that too, but they can't use magic to grow them quickly. Atu says that reforesting uses the 6 major elements to quickly grow the tree, and she suddenly gives the credit for this discovery to Takuto, even though it is a big fat lie. She keeps glazing Takuto, saying that he created the unique fruits they ate earlier, and how grapes are her favorite. Emily agrees with Atu and says that she tried planting the grape seeds and some plants have already sprouted. This comes as surprising news to Takuto, who didn't think it would be possible to grow anything here. However, he quickly realizes that he could create the fruits from Earth here with magic, which means he might be able to create other things. He tests his theory out by creating a coin, and realizes that he can create gunpowder and other science stuff. In that way, he can advance his civilization much faster than other kingdoms. Meanwhile, in the Holy Kingdom of Qualia, things are starting to stir up as well. Saintess Selena is leading a group of knights to the foothills covered with snow to deal with some monsters that are a threat to the villages nearby. As soon as she sees the goblins running towards her, she points her staff at them, turning them into ash with her holy flame. The holy flame vanishes into the clouds after destroying the monsters, and as sunlight falls on the scorched ground, flowers sprout there. The Knight Captain tells his men that Selina's ability burns evil-natured monsters and creates a flower bed in their place, and she is the reason they have a friendly relationship with the elves. After that, Selina tells the Cardinal that he should send paladins to the south instead, because she recently had an omen about something terrible happening in the Cursed Forest. The Cardinal refuses, saying that the Cursed Forest lies at the farthest end of the continent, and he needs permission from higher-ups to deploy paladins there. Selina threatens to go there herself if he can't send anyone, and though the Cardinal tries to fight back, he backs down and promises to send the soldiers he can personally mobilize. At the same time, Takuto and Atu are busy with developing their territory, starting with building some houses for the Dark Elves. A temporary throne room has already been built around Takuto's throne, and he is eager to hold meetings and conferences with the important citizens of his kingdom. Just then, Molter, Gia and Imle arrive there, and Atu tells them that they should immediately start their first council meeting. However, Imle has a gift for Takuto before the meeting, and it is an outfit that makes him look like a femboy. He is glad to receive the outfit because his clothes were getting dirty, and he thanks the elves for that. However, the elves see no change in his appearance, but they trust Atu when she tells them that Takuto looks great in the outfit they prepared. With that out of the way, she starts the council meeting, but Takuto is too busy fanboying after himself. Atu decides to continue the meeting without him and consult him whenever they need any input, and Takuto is completely fine with that suggestion. As the meeting starts, Molter asks Atu what kind of buildings should they make first. She tells him that they should start with food production facilities, and then pulls out a creepy-looking plant which is going to be their main source of food for now. The elves are grossed out on seeing the plant and ask Atu to explain what exactly is it. She tells them that it is the flesh plant, which is unique to their civilization. She explains that the plant can produce meat which tastes like human flesh, and it is quite nutritious. The elves are taken aback on hearing that, and they say that they don't really eat humans, but Atu tells them that the flesh plant is just for the starting phase, and soon they will have other types of foods available to them. She then says that they must also create storehouses and management sheds along with the farms, and Emily decides to take up that job. After that, Atu moves on to the next item on her agenda, which is research, because acquiring advanced technology is especially important for small nations like theirs. Molter asks her what sort of technology should they focus on, and she tells him that they will research magic technology. Takuto is really excited to see that happen, and Molter says that as a mage, he will do his best to impress him. He then asks Atu exactly what kind of magic technology he should research, and she tells him about military magic. She explains that standard attack magic can only target a handful of people at a time, but advanced military magic can destroy entire cities and even change the terrain to their advantage. Atu tells him to gather the elves talented in magic and start working on the research immediately, and Molter is hyped to create magic spells that don't yet exist in this world. Next up, Atu moves to the topic of their military strategy, and Gia gets excited because it is his turn now. However, Takuto immediately tells him that they are not going to invest too heavily in the army right now. Atu adds that armies are expensive to maintain, but they don't produce anything in return in times of peace. Gia argues that they don't have enough strength to protect their king currently, and thus they should pay more attention to their military. Molter also adds that both he and Gia have bounties on their heads as the leader of Dark Elves, and their enemies might attack the kingdom. Takuto understands their concerns and decides to create a hero to defend them instead. Atu agrees, saying that creating a hero is expensive, but they need no maintenance, so they are perfect for their current needs. The elves don't know what a hero is, and Atu tells them that heroes are incredibly strong beings who serve directly under the king. There are conditions to summon different heroes, but she is confident that they can summon the first one quite soon, and Takuto is excited for that. He thinks about how they need mana to do most things in this world, and a kingdom can only collect mana from its people. The happier the people are, the more mana they can collect, and Takuto is determined to make his kingdom the happiest place on this planet. Meanwhile, in the Holy Kingdom of Qualia, a junior paladin named Lonius has been selected as a part of the investigation team to be sent to the Cursed Forest. A senior paladin Verdal is also with him, and his favorite way to kill time is to annoy Lonius, who is too straight-laced and formal. Verdal complains that they are sending an awfully small investigation team that involves just 2 paladins and some mercenaries. He says that the church should pay more attention to Selena's prophecy, and Lonius agrees, but he knows that they can't guess what the higher-ups are thinking. He knows that if they succeed, they will be rewarded greatly, but if they fail, all the blame will most definitely fall on his head. Back in Minagra, Takuto inspects the progress of his civilization. He feels nostalgic because he has seen the starting phase of his civilization thousands of times on a screen till now, but this time, he is seeing it up close. Emle gives him a tour, telling him that the Dark Elves specialize in building houses on trees, but the pace of building houses is slow right now because they are focusing on the flesh trees. The flesh trees are growing well though, and the management and storage facilities have also been built. Emily then says that they found a freshwater spring nearby and they are trying to see if they can draw water from it. As for the magic research, Molter and other mages are working hard in the newly formed research building. Takuto is glad to hear all that, and even more so to learn that the elves are taking initiatives like finding water sources. He is really happy that the elves who looked exhausted when they first came here look happy now, and when he tells that to Emily, she starts crying tears of joy. Takuto freaks out on seeing her break down, but Emily soon calms down and resumes the tour. She shows Takuto and Atu to the flesh tree farm, and says that thanks to the tools that Takuto produced, they can expect the first harvest soon. Next, she takes them to the source of water the elves found, but notices that the vibe around the place is completely different this time. The water has turned dark as well, and Emlet is disappointed because she thinks that they can't use it anymore. Before Atu can explain why she is wrong, Molter and Gia also arrive there to see the water source. They agree with Emily that the water doesn't seem usable anymore, but then Atu takes a sip, telling them that it is completely safe to drink. She then explains that this place looks dark and gloomy now because it has become a part of Minagra thanks to a feature called the Cursed Terrain. Takuto asks the elves to take a deep breath, and they suddenly feel their minds clearing up and their bodies filling with energy. Atu explains that Cursed Terrain gives advantage to creatures with evil alignment and imposes penalties on neutral and good alignment beings. Since the Dark Elves are part of Minagra, they are evil beings now, and thus, this water is completely safe for them. Gia verifies that by drinking the water, and then Atu says that soon, the entire forest will be a part of the Cursed Terrain. However, Takuto thinks that it can be a little problematic because the Cursed Terrain stands out too much. Molter agrees, saying that once the entire forest becomes this dark, their enemies can easily spot them. Gia once again suggests creating an army, but both Atu and Takuto assure him that they are going to summon a hero. Molter says that he is still not clear about what a hero is, and Atu decides to teach him through an example. She suddenly summons dark tentacles from her back, slashing down nearby trees effortlessly before revealing that she is a hero herself. And even though she has only 1% of her full power, she can still defeat entire armies. Takuto boasts to the surprised elves that heroes are really awesome, and they keep growing stronger with time even if they don't do anything. However, he quickly changes the topic and tells Ado that there was no need to chop down the trees to show her power, and tells her to clean up the mess later. The elves, on the other hand, are truly amazed by what they just saw, and they say that Takuto is really a great being for having such powerful subordinates. They decide to create a grand palace suitable for him, and Takuto says that he doesn't need it right now. However, the elves refuse to let their king stay in similar houses like them. And Atu also tells Takuto that creating a palace will make the people happier, so they should let them do it. Takuto decides to give them his permission, saying that he wants a flying fortress someday, but for now, he will be satisfied with a normal palace too. At the same time, the investigation group led by Lonius and Vertil has started traveling to the cursed forests in the south. Vertil is still not satisfied by the size of their group, and Lonius replies that this is the best they can get as most of their forces are dealing with the northern disturbances. Evil alignment species suddenly appeared in the north, attacking and looting cities, and thus most of their empire's firepower has been diverted to deal with them. The mercenaries suddenly say the guys who went north are going to have a rough time. They feel lucky that they weren't ordered to take up that job, because even though the pay was really good, there is a witch involved in the case, and they don't want to do anything with that. Lonius is curious about the witch, and at night, he asks the mercenary named Bargo about it. Bargo says that there were rumors that the entire problem in the north was caused by a witch, but Lonius refuses to believe that. He says that a single person can't be responsible for such a huge number of monsters, and Bargo agrees. He says that it must be the work of a cult, but Vertil tells him to shut up before he jinxes all of them. Lonius suddenly gets pissed at Vertil because he is drunk. He lectures him that they are not allowed to drink since they serve the god, but Vertil is ready to debate with him on the religious text. He then suddenly ignores him and starts flirting with the waitress who brings him more alcohol. Bargo then asks Lonius why 2 paladins are being sent so far south. He fears that it must be because of another witch, and if that is the case, he wants to take his boys and get out before things get dangerous. Lonius says he doesn't know, but then Vertil says that he has already collected some information from the waitress about what is going on. A bunch of dark elves have recently fled to the cursed forests, and the higher-ups probably just want to deal with them. Bargo is relieved on hearing that, and he agrees that they should deal with the dark elves quickly because they are really skilled at assassinations and curses. Lonius also believes that if they leave the dark elves unchecked, they will soon become a threat, but Vertil tells him to chill out a bit. He says that this is just a recon mission, and if things are about to get violent, they will run instead of fighting. However, Lonius is too stuck up on the idea of defeating evil wherever they see it, and he says that they cannot run away from their duty as paladins. Vertil tells him to stop chasing glory, and fight only when the situation demands it, instead of jumping at every chance to risk his life. He reminds him that he has a family at home, and so does everyone else who is on this mission, and they should be more careful about their decisions. At the same time, in Minegra, the first batch of harvest from the flesh trees is ready and placed in the center of a huge altar. Takuto is standing in front of the harvest with all the dark elves watching him eagerly, wondering what is going to happen now. Takuto starts pouring his mana into the pile of fruits, and suddenly, it transforms into a giant bug. The elves can't believe that Takuto created life from just a bunch of fruits, and Atu starts glazing him, saying that this is not even 1% of his true abilities. She tells the elves that he will grow even stronger and will do more miracles with their devotion to him, and they start cheering on him. Later, Takuto returns to his throne, and he is relieved that he was able to produce a bug monster in exchange for food. It was one of the features of the game, but he still doesn't understand how exactly that works out in this world. But Atu tells him that they don't need to think much about it since they have established a way to produce more creatures to serve their kingdom. She then tells Takuto that it is time to move on to the next step, and he agrees, saying that he will summon a hero as soon as they have gathered enough mana. Atu excitedly asks him who does he plan to summon, and he replies that he wants to summon Ayla, the queen of insects. Atu thinks that is a solid choice, and Takuto starts talking about how Ayla can buff all insect-type monsters and enable them to fight on front lines. She can also create larvae that can do menial labor, and thus, she can support their kingdom on both fronts. Atu is glad that he has given it due thought, and Takuto replies that Ayla was the only choice because the others are too unhinged. Atu agrees because she knows that the other heroes need years of therapy, and Takuto tells her that he hopes to summon them someday too, but not right now. On the other hand, Lonius and others have reached the Dark Continent, and they soon find their first opponent in the form of a hill giant. Lonius begins commanding the mercenaries to support him, but then Vertil says there is no need for that because he will handle the monster alone. He says that they don't have any time to waste, and it will be faster if he takes action and everyone else doesn't get in his way. He swiftly goes to the hill giant and points his swords towards it as the rest of his company watches. Vertil then enchants his sword with holy power, and the hill giant waits for him to finish before attacking. Vertil effortlessly blocks his heavy club and then cuts it clean using his holy sword. Next, he jumps up towards the monster and deals multiple attacks to it, taking it down without giving it the chance to fight back. He returns to his troops after killing the giant, and Lonius starts praising him, saying that the mission will be an easy one because they have got him. Vertil, however, doesn't think so, and that statement starts worrying Lonius. Back in Minegra, Takuto is enjoying a burger when Atu tells him to eat something healthier. He replies that he has only eaten healthy and boring food in the hospital, so he wants to try new things now. He is also worried about her because she has been eating only salad for a few days now, and she tells him that this kind of food suits her more. They talk about how construction has picked up pace now, and Takuto suddenly tells Atu to summon Molter and others after they are done eating. He tells her that the new scout bugs they created have mapped the area around their base, and he plans to do something about the human settlement near them. He first asks Atu to confirm if the town near them is not a part of the Holy Kingdom of Qualia, and she is pretty sure that it is an independent territory with neutral alignment. Takuto is glad to hear that because that means they can negotiate with the town, and he hopes that nothing bad happens during their interaction. He believes that they will be fine for now, and Atu jokes that he will jinx them by saying that. Takuto laughs that nothing like that will happen. He gets a message from a bug just then, showing him that an armed group is approaching the forest. He tells Atu that they need to send them away peacefully if that is possible, and if things go south, they should get ready to fight. Meanwhile, the armed group is indeed Lonius and Vertil's party, and as they head into the forest, Vertil tells everyone to stop because he notices someone approaching. Atu comes out of the forest, wearing black clothes that hide her face and features, and Vertil tells her to identify herself. She claims to be a dark elf who has taken refuge in the forest along with her clan because no other place is safe for them. Vertil understands that and tells her to get aside because they need to investigate the forest, and she replies that they should not go inside. Vertil realizes something is wrong, but Lonius starts yelling at Atu, asking her how dare she disobey a command from God's servant. Vertil immediately lashes out at him, telling him not to interrupt him, and Lonius is pissed at him for scolding him on such a trivial matter. Vertil then resumes his conversation with Atu, telling her that they can't return just because she doesn't want them to enter the forest. He asks her if there is something hidden in there, and she replies that it is just a bunch of elves who want to live in peace. She asks him why is he so obsessed with entering this god-forsaken place, and after a bit of thinking, Vertil reveals that the Saintess had a vision of something really evil hiding in this place, and he can't return without checking it with his own eyes. The mercenaries are shocked because they didn't know this, and Lonius asks him how could he reveal national secrets so casually. Vertil again yells at him, saying that there are times when secrets need to be told. This pisses off Lonius even more because even a high paladin like Vertil doesn't have authority to reveal divine prophecies without authorization from the higher-ups. Meanwhile, Vertil once again asks Atu to let them go into the forest to take a quick peek, but her attitude suddenly changes as she tells them that they won't find anything worth their time inside. She tells them to return back immediately, and Lonius is angry that a dark elf dares to defy a prophecy from God. He can sense the air around Atu changing and decides that there is something really evil inside the forest that they need to investigate. However, Vertil seems to be willing to negotiate with her. He asks her to swear on God that there is no threat to the holy kingdom of Qualia inside the forest, and Atu swears on her God that they are the ones who are more afraid of Qualia. Vertil is satisfied with that, and he declares that they are retreating. Lonius can't believe this, and he points out that the woman is obviously hiding something. Vertil calls him a faithless coward and tells him to stop projecting his fears onto him. He says that they found nothing, and that concludes their investigation. He begins walking away with that, but Lonius is not going to let him make the decisions anymore. He tells Vertil that he is revoking his authority as a high paladin for revealing a prophecy to the enemy and abandoning his duty. He tells the mercenaries that they will head into the forest and confirm what evil is hiding there, and Bargo agrees to it because Lonius is the one signing their paychecks after all. Atu pleads with them not to enter the forest, but Lonius orders his men to capture her, despite Vertil telling him not to do it. Atu just sighs that the negotiations have failed, and a few seconds later, the mercenaries are all skewered on Atu's spikes like fresh kebabs, and Lonius was knocked out first, and he doesn't even remember seeing all that. Vertil is the only person who witnessed everything and is still alive, and he panics as he tells Lonius that they are dealing with a witch. Atu quickly erases her disguise, saying that the conversation was going so peacefully, and it is a shame that things turned out like this. The remaining mercenaries and Lonius are completely rattled by the scene in front of them, and Vertil tells Bargo to send someone back to relay the message immediately. Bargo tells him that all their messengers have been killed in the previous attack, and Atu sighs, before laughing out loud that she is the calamity that they were looking for. She tells them that they have finally found her, and asks what are they going to do about it now. While everyone else is chickening out, Vertil yells at them to grow a pair because they are too deep in trouble to run away now. He commands his men to get ready to fight, saying that things shouldn't have turned out this way, and Atu fully agrees with him. She says that it is all the fault of that mindless loser in the bowl cut who thought that his faith was the most important thing in the world, and now he is going to pay the price for it. Vertil doesn't want to stall her any longer, and he orders the archers to attack first. However, blocking their arrows is child's play for Atu, who starts letting her inner battle junkie show. Lonius nervously asks Vertil what even is a witch, and he replies that he should have told this to everyone before the mission started, even though that would be breaking another rule. Witches are disaster-level monsters that are prophesied by the saints and officially denoted as the greatest threat to their kingdom by the top church officials. He tells them that the disaster in the north was really because of a witch, and he is pretty sure that the woman in front of them is a witch too. Atu has gotten bored of their yapping by now, and she tells them to attack, or she will start attacking them. Verdal commands the mercenaries to fall back because only he and Lonius can fight her. He tells Lonius to follow his lead, and they enchant themselves with holy power as they rush ahead. Atu attacks them with her tentacles, thinking they won't be able to beat her, but holy power gives the paladins extra damage against evil attribute creatures, and they manage to slash through her tentacles. Atu is taken aback by this, but as she is busy monologuing, Verdal suddenly attacks her, and she loses another tentacle trying to protect herself. Lonius also takes down another of her tentacles, and Verdal is confident that if they cut the remaining two, they can win. However, Atu is pissed now, and she suddenly takes two mercenaries hostage, thinking that the paladins won't be able to attack her now. However, Verdal is determined to put an end to her before she can become a threat to their kingdom, so he tells Lonius that they will attack. Atu was not expecting this, and she is genuinely surprised when the paladins cut through the hostages along with her tentacles. They think that they will win now, but Atu has been tricking them this entire time, and she decides it is time for the final act. She suddenly uses a bunch of tentacles to turn Verdal into a human pincushion before Lonius can even see. Verdal tells him to run away, but Atu pierces his head, instantly killing him. She flaunts that she didn't have just 6 tentacles, and she can summon as many as she wants, which leaves Lonius even more aghast than he already was. He now realizes his mistake and understands that they can't win, so he orders the mercenaries to run away and scatter in every direction, because they need just one person to reach back to the kingdom and tell them the news. Atu is pissed as the mercenaries run away, but then she notices that Lonius stayed back to give up his life in a desperate final attempt. He attacks her, but surprisingly, Atu blocks his strike using the holy sword. He can't understand how that can happen, and Atu tells him that she stole the ability to use holy power from Verdal, along with all the techniques he spent years mastering. She begins pushing Lonius back while talking about his family because she also stole Verdal's memories and emotions. Lonius is shocked to hear this, and Atu tells him that not only was Verdal really skilled, he also cared about everyone in his party till the last moment. She asks Lonius how does it feel to realize that Verdal had to die because of his stupid ego, and he replies that his will still lives on. He says that the mercenaries will surely deliver the message home when suddenly he hears screams coming from all directions. Atu scoffs, telling him that she ordered the Dark Elves to not let even a single person escape, and Lonius loses his mind. He dashes at her in mad fury, but he can't do anything. Atu doesn't kill him instantly either, and she hangs him upside down as she fills his heart with fear and regret. She tells him that if he had walked away like Verdal said, he would have returned to his family and lived a happy life with them. However, he took the wrong step, and now the future will be entirely different. She tells Lonius that he will die here, and then she will hunt down his family and kill them. She will also kill all the people in all the towns and villages that his group passed through for no reason, and he will be the one to take the blame for all of it. She tells him that her king told her that life is over once people start looking down on you, and to make sure that no one ever looks down on her, she will kill millions of people without any reason, and everyone will hate Lonius for that. His mind has been completely shattered now, and he begs Atu to stop, but she starts acting cheerful, saying that he must have been a good religious person who loved his country and his family, but she hates self-righteous people like him. She tells him to watch the massacre from his little seat in heaven, and Lonius once again begs her to stop. This time, Atu simply tears him apart, ending her torture. Soon, she stands solemnly on the cliff's edge, thinking about her actions and the future while Lonius' wedding ring lies in a puddle of his blood. Just then, Gia and some dark elves come there, telling Atu that they took care of all the mercenaries just like she ordered them to. She tells them that she is pleased with that and decides to head back, leaving the cleanup to them. However, before she goes away, Gia has a question for her. He nervously asks her if she plans to follow through on everything she just said to Lonius, and she appears serious for a moment before returning to her normal cheerful self. She says that there is no way she is going to do all that because she is a pacifist and she was just bullying Lonius for the fun of it. She then decides to head to Takuto immediately because she has an urgent report for him. The report is the presence of another witch up in the north, and that is a new term for both of them as there was no unit called witch in the game. Takuto realizes that this is not exactly the game's world in that case, and Atu affirms, saying that though some things are same as the game, the rest are quite different. However, she is confident that they can use the differences in their favor as well. Takuto doesn't understand what she means, so she tells him that in this world, instead of just absorbing the abilities of the opponents she defeats, she can also absorb a part of their memory, which is definitely going to be quite useful. She excitedly tells Atu that she knows a bit about the condition of the Qualia Kingdom already thanks to the 2 paladins she killed. She says that currently, Qualia is busy with the disturbance in the north, so they won't pay much attention to them. But having their entire survey team wiped out will surely raise some flags. Takuto believes that even if Qualia takes some action, they need to be extremely cautious because they don't know what they are dealing with. He is not worried about them, but he is quite curious about the witch in the north. He asks Atu what she knows about the witch from the paladin's memories, and she replies that there is no clear information. The only thing she is sure of is that the witch caused military-scale damage up north. She suddenly remembers that she also knows the witch's name, that is, Irakino, the Slurping Witch. Takuto is curious now, and he thinks that if just one witch can cause military-scale damage to a country, she might have come to this world from Earth just like them. He believes that she is on the same level as the hero units in the game, and says that they should be wary of the witch, considering her a potential enemy. Atu says that the witch is definitely an evil-aligned character like them, and they can try making contact with her, but Takuto shoots down the idea, reminding her that it is rare for evil-aligned species to be on good terms with each other. Atu sighs, saying that things are looking troublesome, but Takuto tells her to chill because the witch is far away from them, and even if she turns out to be their enemy, they have time to prepare for that. That brings them to the topic of summoning a hero, and Takuto says that they might need to reconsider which hero to summon. Earlier, he had thought of summoning the Bug Queen Ayla, but now he wonders if it will be better to summon a more combat-oriented hero. Along with that, he feels that they need to change their strategies about dealing with other countries around them. He tells Atu that he has decided to be friends with the independent territory to their east, because they will need allies in case Qualia comes to fight with them. Atu thinks that it will be hard even if the eastern country is neutral-aligned, but Takuto believes that as long as they have something valuable to offer, they will listen to them. He says that they should scout out the eastern country already while they are building up their strength, and Atu decides to carry forward his plan. Meanwhile, in another country, the beast folks are fighting against evil monsters that keep attacking their city. The attack is led by an old but powerful cow woman wizard, and right as she finishes taking down one wave of monsters, another wave arrives, making her wonder what is going on. Back in Minegra, Atu leaves to carry out Takuto's orders, but she stops midway, acting nervous as she says that she might have gone a bit overboard with the paladins. She fears that it might offend Takuto, who truly likes peace, but he tells her that it is fine and nothing she does can offend him. For a moment, even Atu sees the pitch-black king of ruin in Takuto's place, but then she starts simping for him again, telling him that she will carry out his every order. Soon after that, Takuto's palace is finally complete, and he is really happy about it. Atu shares his joy, and they talk about how this is the monument to celebrate the start of their kingdom. Takuto says that one day he wants an even bigger palace, and Atu says that their powerful heroes will live in the palace and there will be servants in each room. Saying this reminds her that Takuto doesn't have a personal attendant yet, and she suddenly feels guilty about it. She tells Takuto that she will immediately find a maid that will attend to all his needs, and even when he tells her that it is not needed, she insists because it is a matter of pride for her. Atu asks him what kind of woman he wants, and Takuto nervously replies that he wants someone easy to talk to. He claims that the Dark Elves really keep their distance from him, and that doesn't help his dream of becoming a friendly king. Atu knows the true reason behind that is Takuto's form, but she doesn't tell him about it. Instead, she assures him that she will take care of the matter with a brilliant idea, and Takuto has a feeling that it won't end well. Soon, Molter, Gia, and Emily arrive there as per Atu's orders, and she tells them to gather all the girls in the village and bring them here. Molter panics on hearing this and asks for reasons, and Atu tells him that Takuto likes them young. She is proud of her plan because she thinks that children can be trained to talk freely to Takuto, but on the other hand, Takuto hates that she is making him look like a PDF file. Anyway, he manages to get the situation under control by saying that he wants children to serve him because they are free from the tainted perspective of adults. Everyone is glad to hear that Takuto is not going to turn their kingdom into Epstein Island Part 2. and Atu also covers for him, saying that the duties are not so difficult, so kids should be able to manage them as well. Gia immediately replies that if that is the case, there is no need to call just the girls because boys can help out as well. Takuto jumps to answer this question like a true feminist, saying that he plans to train the kids to become future leaders and he wants to promote women in leadership roles as well, so it serves two purposes at once. The elves totally believe him, and Emily is happy to learn that the king is a feminist too. They praise him for his vision, and Takuto is glad to hear that he managed everything well. Atu then tells them to immediately send some children here, and Takuto hopes that now people will stop being awkward around him. Unfortunately, all the kids that are brought to see him start crying, and Atu orders Molter to bring in the second batch. He informs her that these were all the kids in the village, and Atu calls him a disgrace. Suddenly, Gia suggests to Molter that they can send the twins, but he shuts down the idea. Atu opens it up again, and Molter reveals that there are two twin sisters in the village, and though they are smart, they have some special circumstances that make them unfit to serve the king. Atu tells him that she will decide that for herself and commands him to bring the twins here, but Gia replies that he has already summoned them. He tries flexing his foresight in front of the old geezer, but Atu tells them that they can do their ding-dong measuring competition after this. Gia quickly brings the twins inside, and the younger sister introduces herself as Karina, and her elder sister as Marina. Atu can tell at a single glance that the girls have suffered a lot, and asks Karina about her scars. She replies that they are because of a disease, but they suit her appearance. Molter clarifies that Karina got a smallpox-like disease, and even though she is fully cured now, the scars remain. Atu then asks about Marina, and she cruelly replies that she ate her mom. Both Takuto and Atu are shocked to hear this, and they turn to Molter for an explanation, and he nervously reveals that the mother of the twins was a proud and noble woman who sacrificed her life for their clan. They realize that the Dark Elves had to make a choice between starvation or cannibalism at some point, and that is how the twins lost their mother. Atu thinks that it is a good thing that the girls are fearless, but she thinks something is odd about them. Suddenly, Marina walks up to Takuto and says that he is pure white. He is confused by her statement, but asks her if she is not afraid of him. Marina tells him that she is not afraid and agrees to become his servant because she is confident that she can handle it. After that, Takuto asks Karina what she thinks, and she replies that she needs to stay with her sister, so she will also become his servant. Takuto is glad to have them, and Atu declares that the twins have officially become the king's servants. However, once they leave the room, Molter shares a word of caution with Takuto, telling him that the twins haven't shed a single tear since their mother died. He says that they have closed off their hearts to everyone, and asks Takuto to treat them with kindness and patience. Soon after that, the twins start serving Takuto, but Marina is clumsy and spills water on him. Karina cleans up her mess when Atu comes there. She is disappointed on seeing this, but tells Takuto that they have to attend a meeting now. Once the meeting starts, Atu decides to talk about the construction department first. Emily gets up as she is the head of constructions and says that since the palace is completed now, their workforce is free to build another building. Takuto is pleased to hear that, and he orders Emily to build a clinic because that will keep their people healthy, and it is also the cheapest one to build. Emily sits down as her part is done, but when Atu starts the discussion on resource gathering, she has to stand up again because that is also her responsibility. She says that they are gathering food and other resources at a steady pace, thanks to the special utensils and tools that Takuto created for them. She believes that it is inefficient to make the king work for them, but Atu replies that since they just need mana to create new items, they should work on building facilities that can help them gather a lot of mana quickly. She then moves on to the research department, and Molter stands up to present his report. He says that the military magic they were working on is complete, but only he can use it right now. He is going to teach it to other elves soon, but he doesn't think that it will be used much in real life because their king is a pacifist. Atu agrees with him and says that one military magic is enough for now. She asks Molter to focus on the 6 great elements now, because that will help them out the most in the long term. After that, she asks about the military status, and Gia gets up to deliver his report. 5 long-legged bugs have joined the army as scouts, and they are currently gathering information about the nation. He says that they haven't gone out beyond the forest because it is a barren plain and there is no place to hide. Atu tells him to deploy all the bugs to scout the area quickly because as long as she is defending them, they won't have any problem. Gia is glad to hear that. And then Atu says that they have also decided on what hero they are going to summon next. Takuto declares that they will summon Isla, the queen of insects, and the dark elves suddenly go into alert mode. Molter reports that they have gathered all the food and lumber needed to summon the hero, and now only the mana is left. After that, they discuss other issues, and the meeting ends after a couple of very tiring and stressful hours. Once everything is sorted, Takuto heads back to his throne room with his servants, but Marina bumps into him, scattering the documents everywhere. Karina rushes to help her, but they end up tearing a document instead. Takuto tells them that it is fine and gets back on his throne, when Marina approaches him, asking if he is a bad guy. He replies that he is an evil-aligned character, which pretty much means he is a bad guy. Marina asks him why is he not killing them in that case, and Takuto can't even understand her question fully. Karina elaborates, saying that her sister wants to know why a great king like him is showing such mercy even when they mess up all the time. Takuto tries passing it off as his habit, but the girls are not satisfied, and he decides to tell them the difference between good people and bad people. He says that good people can only do good things, which means they can't hurt others or steal from them. He asks the girls what bad people can do, and they reply that they can only do bad things. Takuto corrects them, saying that bad people can do whatever they want. He claims that they are selfish and totally free, so they can do good things and bad things as they want. He says that since he is a bad guy, he can forgive them even if they make mistakes, and that suddenly makes him realize that the girls were messing up on purpose so that he would punish them. He asks them to confirm his theory, and they do so. Takuto realizes that the girls feel guilty about surviving when their mother couldn't, and he calmly approaches them. He asks them what their mother told them before dying, and Marina replies that she told them to keep on living. Takuto tells them that their mother's love is what has kept them alive to see this day, and they should live a life that she would be proud of. He pats their heads, telling them that they are free to live as they please, and he will bless them as long as they can live a happy and meaningful life. The girls hug him and start crying on hearing this, and when Atu comes to the room later, she finds them sleeping on Takuto's throne. She is jealous that they got close to him, but then remembers the report she was here to make. They go to another room, where Atu tells him about the neutral nation called Fonkaven on their east, where humans and beastkin live together. The town that is closer to the forest is called Dragonton, and it is a part of the nation as well, and it is ruled by a council of shamans. Takuto thinks they can start a diplomatic relationship with Dragonton first, but he is curious about why the town was built so far away from the main kingdom. Atu tells him the rumors about the town being built around a dragon vein, which is the best source of natural mana. She believes that the town is an outpost just to farm mana, but currently it is being attacked by goblins and other monsters without any hope of reinforcements from the kingdom. Takuto thinks that this is their chance because if the town falls to monsters, there will be a lot of refugees, and they can add them to their population, and then use them as a base to negotiate directly with the Fonk Kingdom. Takuto immediately sends a group of ambassadors to Dragonton, led by Atu, and they meet the bison shaman Tonka and some other beastmen right at the edge of the forest. Atu and others radiate pure evil aura, and the beastmen start to panic on seeing that. Tonka tells them not to attack these people in a state of panic, because she is sure that they cannot beat them. Meanwhile, Atu tells the Dark Elves to stand by because she wants to talk to the Beastmen alone. Tonka panics even more at this, because her Beastmen subordinates are being forced by their instincts to either run or flee. Atu starts releasing her tentacles to threaten the Beastmen, but just then, an idiot human steps in and diffuses the tense situation. He cheerfully introduces himself as Pepe and asks Atu to introduce herself as well. Atu is so taken aback by his attitude that she immediately retracts her tentacles, but now Tonka fears that this moron is going to get them all killed. Luckily, Pepe saved everyone's asses by initiating a conversation. Turns out that the people from Dragonton also wanted to meet King Takuto, and Tonka was leading a delegation. Atu tells her that they were doing the same, and that is why they bumped into each other on the way. Atu leads them inside the forest, and Pepe begins yapping about their adventures on the way here. Tonka apologizes on the idiot's behalf, and Atu tells her that it is alright, even though she is annoyed by him. She then asks Tonka why she did not bring her soldiers along with her, and the Bison Lady replies that they would not be able to handle the dark air of the forest anyway. She is curious to meet the king that a powerful monster like Atu serves, but when she comes face to face with Takuto, she can't even start to comprehend his true abilities. She begins to fear that they might be in danger, and Pepe might be in the most danger because of his stupid personality. Earlier, when they were leaving Dragonton, they ran into a powerful troll and Pepe decided to show off his skills by fighting it alone. He managed to subdue the troll and climbed on it, but then the troll got up and attacked him again. Pepe froze because of panic, but Tonka came there just in time to save his. She lectured him about being careless and then told him that as a punishment, he has to come with her to the cursed forest because they need to investigate if that is the source of the monsters attacking their city lately. Now, she regrets her decision and thinks that she should not have brought a child in front of the personification of evil. But Pepe is Pepe, and he confidently introduces himself to Takuto, asking him to become his friend. Tonka panics and shuts the moron's mouth, apologizing on his behalf, but Takuto is happy because this is the first time someone has asked him to be his friend in this world. He agrees to become Pepe's friend, much to Tonka's surprise, and Atu takes a moment to process the situation before congratulating Takuto on his first friend. The Dark Elves also start clapping for him, and Tonka is utterly confused about what is going on here. After that, a welcome dinner is laid out in front of the guests, and Tonka is blown away by the taste of apple juice and the transparent glass utensils. Pepe also likes it, and he asks for refill, and then he immediately jumps over the table to glare at Gia's muscles and then showing off his magic in front of Molter. Takuto is truly impressed by this god of extroverts, but he doesn't know how to go on ahead from here. He doesn't want to get distracted by his newly formed friendship because they are going to have important diplomatic discussions, but he also wants to show the beastmen that he is friendly so that they can trust him. Suddenly, he gets an idea, and he asks Pepe if he would like to play a game with him. Everyone watches him with confusion, but Pepe is glad to accept the offer. They play a variety of games and Pepe beats Takuto in every single one of them, much to Tonka's dismay. He then tells Takuto that these new games are fun and he should sell them to their country. Tonka panics on hearing this, but Takuto gladly agrees because he had been planning to do business with them anyway. He thanks Pepe for bringing that up, but then realizes that the time for games is over because now he needs to have a serious diplomatic discussion with the beastmen. Once the lunch is over, Takuto signals to Atu to start the discussion, and she immediately asks Tonka the reason she led a delegation here. Tonka flinches as the real topic is finally brought up, and she reveals that recently evil alignment barbarians like trolls and goblins have been attacking their city. She says that they came here to investigate the cause of those attacks, and Takuto immediately asks if they are lacking in military strength. Tonka panics at this because if Takuto finds out their weakness, he can use it against them in a negotiation. She immediately says that they are able to drive them off without any problems for now, and since they have sent 2 of their strongest shamans out on a mission to investigate things, it shows that they are confident in their strength. Tonka says that they just don't want to take risks, and Atu agrees with her because barbarians usually avoid civilizations. Everyone believes her words, but then Pepe speaks up. He says that he was told that the investigation mission is to find the source of the barbarians, otherwise their city will be destroyed, and Tonka is so dumbfounded that she can't even scold him. Anyway, Atu assures her that they don't have any hostility towards Dragonton or their kingdom, and they are just trying to develop their own nation in peace. She then says that the problem of barbarians concerns them as well because once they destroy Dragonton, they will attack them. Tonka gets hopeful that she can get some help, and Takuto affirms that he wants to help his friends. Tonka asks him what he wants in return because she knows that she can no longer bargain with him on an equal footing because of Pepe. Atu replies that they want the Dragonbane in the city, and Tonka panics because she had never even mentioned that. She remarks that Atu has done her research, and she affirms, saying that they will be happy with joint control of the Dragonbane, because currently they don't need all the mana it produces. However, she wants Minagra to have the right to decide which element the mana will be converted into. Tonka is surprised to hear that because they have not reached that level of technology yet, and she assumes that Minagra is already more advanced than them. She wonders if she should take the deal, but then she decides to tell Takuto and Atu about Pepe. She says that he is an even greater fool than Goku and Luffy combined, but he is talented and also the best judge of character among all shamans. That is why she wants him to decide if they should take this deal, and Pepe tells her that he wanted to be friends with the people of this country from the beginning. With this, an alliance between Minagra and the Foreign Kingdom is formed. A few days later, Takuto calls a meeting to discuss the details of the negotiations that have already ended. Emily says that they will be exporting food and toys to the foreign kingdom, or more particularly to Dragonton, and in exchange, they will provide them with metal and other daily necessities. Also, in exchange of fighting off the barbarians, they will have joint control over the Dragonbane. Molter thanks Pepe's carelessness for that, but he is also worried about the boy. Takuto thinks the same, but deep inside his heart, he feels that Pepe knew the negotiations would take a long time if he didn't reveal the desperate situation they were in. So he revealed the truth on purpose to get help quickly. Anyway, they resume the discussion, and Karina and Marina ask about the foreign kingdom because they know nothing about it. Molter agrees with them, saying that they need to learn about the customs and rules of the country they are allied with, and Takuto doesn't have any idea about that because that was not really a feature of the game. He says that they will deal with that later because right now, their focus is to help Dragonton. He says they will send a delegation to the capital of Forn later because it is too far away, and Molter asks what official reason they should use for it. Marina says that they will go there to play because that is what Pepe said, and Takuto likes the idea of sending a small group to pay his respects before sending a formal delegation. Molter volunteers to lead the small group, but Takuto thinks he is too important for that. Gia agrees, saying that Molter is just an old man to them, but to other countries, he will be like the Minister of Magic. Molter agrees with him and says that everyone here is too important in that case, and the only right candidates are the twins. However, Takuto thinks that it is too dangerous to send them, but Molter insists that since he is grooming them for leadership roles in the future anyway, he should let them get some experience. Takuto is not convinced, so Otto volunteers to go with the girls to ensure their safety. Molter tells her that she is the closest person to the king, so she will be an even bigger deal to the foreign kingdom. Atu immediately folds on hearing this, and now just the twins are left. They approach Takuto, reminding him that he told them they were free, and now they want to use the freedom to represent him in another country. He tells them that it is risky, but they are willing to take the risk. They try to pressure him with innocent puppy eyes, and Takuto gives in, which is a shock to Atu because until now only she could do that. She acts all jealous and sulky later on, and tells Takuto to forget about her and build her harem already. He doesn't know how to console her, but then the twins tell him to express his true feelings to her. Takuto follows their advice and takes Atu's hand, thanking her for always thinking about him, and saying that he would have not made it this far without her. He tells her that she is the only one for him, and her mind is blown. She imagines a happy married life with him, and Takuto is just glad that the matter got resolved. After that, Takuto takes Atu and the twins to the newly built clinic because their bodyguards for the upcoming trip are there. Atu is surprised to hear this, and Takuto tells her about the plague doctor units that he recently created. Takuto opens the clinic door and leads his group inside, and the plague doctors immediately come out to welcome him. While Marina is awestruck by the strange-looking people, Karina is a bit scared. However, contrary to their appearance, the doctors have a really cheerful personality, and they emote a bit to welcome their mighty and wise king. Atu, the biggest simp for Takuto, is impressed by their dedication, and she says they are qualified to serve as his underlings. Takuto tells her that he had already created them in case any medical emergencies arose, but they had been on standby this entire time. He says that they will be the perfect bodyguards for the twins, and Atu agrees with him. The twins, on the other hand, are still confused about these strange masked men, and Takuto tells them that they are medics who can treat diseases, and they are also decent when it comes to combat. Atu then explains to the medics their mission to protect the twins as they observe the culture of Dragonton. They get excited on receiving this mission, but the girls find them too loud and annoying. Anyway, the medics declare that they will act as humanly as possible to carry out this mission, and pleased by their dedication, Takuto decides to reward them with names. He names them Akiro, Gyro, and Saburo, and the medics are overwhelmed with emotions. Takuto thinks that since the units produced in this world have individual personalities, it makes sense to give them names. However, he feels that he might have been a bit too generous as he sees the medics getting carried away and Marina acts like she is one of them. Karina, on the other hand, is too timid to approach them, and Atu can understand how she feels. On the other hand, the mayor of Dragonton is throwing a tantrum because she is too busy with work. The elf woman named Antic thought that she could live an easy life if she left her country and came to a neutral territory. But there is too much work here, and she doesn't even have time to find a boyfriend. She is even more pissed at the fact that she has to work with the forces of evil to protect her city. But as she is throwing a tantrum, her subordinate comes there. Antic immediately puts on her business personality and asks her what she needs. The woman tells her that some people want to meet her without an appointment, and Antic tells her to send them away because her time is more valuable than gold. However, when the woman tells her that the unexpected guests are from Minagra, she panics and decides to drop all her work to meet them. As she goes to the waiting room, she finds the twins sitting on the couch while the three menacing medics behind them. Antic is creeped out by the evil aura the medics release, and she wonders if the shamans have gone crazy to ally with people like them. Anyway, she welcomes the girls who introduce themselves as representatives of Minagra. Antic is on guard against them because she has heard stories about dark elf assassins, and she finds the medics even more sketchy. Karina notices that she looks uneasy, but before she can talk about it, Antic apologizes for not being ready to welcome them. Karina and Marina tell her that it is no big deal, and then Antic begins thinking, why would someone send two kids here? She suddenly remembers that Tonka talked about two twin sisters who are being raised by the Dark King as future leaders, and she panics realizing that she is dealing with some really important people. She realizes that if she messes up anything here, it could create problems for her country. She nervously asks the twins about the reason for their visit, but they can't come up with an answer. Gyro steps forward to answer the question instead, and he tells Antic that they are here because Pepe invited them to come and play. He assures her that this is an informal visit where they want to learn more about the culture and lifestyle of their allying nation, and there is no need for any official discussion as the girls are not ready for it yet. Antic couldn't be happier to hear that because now she doesn't have to bother negotiating with the girls. She decides to have a good relationship with them for the sake of everyone's future, and volunteers to show them around the city. The twins are happy to accept her offer, and Antic spends the day showing them around the city, and Takuto sees it all through the eyes of the medics. After they are done exploring the city, the girls head to their lodging in the evening. Karina starts a discussion about what they observed today, and Marina says that she noticed a feeling of anxiety in the people. They were scared of the enemies outside while struggling with food issues, and Marina could understand because she is sensitive to the emotions of others. The medics are impressed to hear about this, and they present something they found in the market. As Marina opens the pouch they give her, she finds a white flower. Karina recognizes it as the poppy flower that is used as a narcotic, and it has been banned from almost the entire continent. She thinks that the flower looks too healthy to be wild, and judges that someone is trying to sell drugs in Dragonton to take advantage of the anxious people. Karina gets mad as she thinks about how someone is trying to ruin the peace while Antic is working hard to protect the city, and the medics decide to be more cautious from now on. The next day, Karina and Marina visit the Dragon Vein field, which has a lot of crystals full of mana. The girls are taken aback by the sight, but as they are admiring the crystals, a merchant named Vesta approaches them. He tells the twins that he has heard about the Dragon Vein being jointly controlled by Dragonton and Minagra now, so he had a business proposition for them. He tells them that the poppy grass grows well in this mana-rich place, and he wants to cultivate it because it fetches a high price. He offers to give a share of that profit to Minagra along with other gifts for their king, and the twins ask him more about it. Vesta tells them that they will talk about the rest of the things in private and gives them the address where they can find him later. He is pleased that the people with evil alignment are so easy to do business with, but the twins are pissed on learning that he is the person trying to ruin the city. They don't visit him and instead go to meet Antic again as their trip comes to an end. She is happy that they enjoyed their stay in the city and asks them to present her as a smart and capable mayor to the king. Just then, Vesta comes there with his lackeys and Antic panics on seeing him. She asks who the hell gave him the permission to enter here, but he replies that they entered through brute force. Vesta then asks the girls about their response to his previous offer because they didn't come to meet him. Antic loses her mind as she thinks that the evil-aligned twins made a deal with scum like Vesta, but Karina assures her that they don't intend to associate with that asshole at all. She tells Vesta that he should have been smart enough to know they are not going to work with him when they didn't show up. She then asks Antic if it is fine if they deal with Vesta, because they wouldn't do it if it causes problems between their countries. Antic is more than happy to let them handle the crooked merchant and his goons, and the medics immediately step in between them and the twins. Seeing that they intend to fight, Vesta pulls out a syringe full of poppy extract and tells the girls that a single dose of this thing will make them addicted. They remind him that if he does anything to them, he will be turning the entire nation of Minagra into his enemy, and their king won't let him die peacefully. Vesta says that it will be fine because after this injection, the girls will do whatever he wants, and then their PDF file will also follow his orders. Vesta then hands over the injection to his men while he steps aside, but then suddenly, his goon's sword comes flying right towards him. He panics at this and turns around, and the sight in front of his eyes is even more horrifying. Meanwhile, in Minagra, Emily is reporting to Takuto when she asks him why did he send the medics as bodyguards when they could dispatch their warriors. Takuto tells her that the medics really love humans and demi-humans, and because of that, they get extra buffs when they are dealing with them, no matter if they are healing them or fighting them. Back in Antic's office, the plague doctors have butchered Vesta's henchmen and skinned them. They have removed their disguises as well, revealing that they are patchwork monsters who are not humans, but they want to be human by wearing their skin. Antic is horrified at this sight and Marina comforts her, while Karina orders the medics to finish off Vesta because he threatened to harm them and insulted their king. Vesta tells them to stop because they are evil people just like him, but Karina tells him that being evil means being free to do anything they want, and she wants him dead. On her command, the medics make quick work of Vesta, and now all three of them have human skins to wear. While Marina tells them that they look human now, Karina apologizes to Antic for traumatizing her and making a mess of her office. She begins wondering how they will cover the cleaning bills, but Antic nervously tells her that it is fine. Karina is happy to hear that, but Antic is even more terrified now that she knows that the twins aren't even a little taken aback at this gruesome scene. She pisses herself in fear, and on seeing this, the medics also decide to do the same because that would be a human thing to do. However, Karina drop kicks them as she tells them to stop, and something inside Antic's mind snaps as she starts laughing. Soon after that, the twins return to Minagra and report what they found, but Atu gets furious as she realizes what they did in Dragonton. Instead of scolding the girls, she takes out all her anger on Takuto because he is the one who let them go that far. She knows that he ditched his work so that he could watch over them, and despite that, he let them butcher the bandits in Antic's office. Takuto says that he didn't stop the girls because he thought they would hate him, and she yells at him even more, asking if he is the dad of some teenagers. After that, Atu turns to the twins who are still carrying their bloody cloaks with them and lashes at them for taking such violent actions. Next, she moves on to the medics, but they are actually proud that they killed 3 people and wore their skin to become more human. Atu loses her cool at this, and as a punishment, she tells everyone to write an essay reflecting on the mistakes they made, which is a pretty chill punishment for unaliving 3 dudes in another country. After that, a meeting is called to discuss how they will approach Dragonton, but Takuto is too busy handing out candy to the twins. Atu scolds them once again, but the Dark Elves tell her to calm down because they need to get over the meeting first. Molter says that the elves are also partially at fault for not teaching the twins basic manners, and Ada decides to deal with them later. As the meeting starts, Molter asks the twins if their report is accurate, and they are confident that they got all the observations correct. The elves read that Dragonton is in a lot of trouble. Food is scarce, and there are not enough guards to patrol the city, so crime is rising. However, the biggest problem remains the attacks of barbarians that involve goblins, orcs, and hill giants. While goblins and orcs are just low-level monsters, hill giants are quite powerful and tough to defeat. Molter says that the soldiers and shamans of Dragonton have been unable to find the exact source from where the monsters are spawning, and he thinks it is because they are too exhausted to use their sharp senses fully. Gia says that they should immediately send an army to help Dragonton before it falls to the monsters, but Emily thinks that sending their workers to fight in a war can cause problems for their economy. Atu tells them that she is going to take part in the expedition, so they should arrange the rest of the troops accordingly. She says that even though the monsters they are facing are low level, she should be able to get some useful skills from them, and that will make their country stronger. Takuto agrees with the idea, and then Molter suggests that he will also go along with her because he can help in fighting as well as in diplomatic matters. He decides to take some of his students along to assist him, and Gia says that there is no need for him and the warriors to leave Minagra in that case. However, Emily is not sure if he is strong enough to protect the country since Atu is their main damage dealer. Atu agrees with her, but then turns to Takuto for the answer, who tells everyone that he is going to summon a hero soon, so they don't need to worry about the defenses anymore. The elves are really surprised to hear this, and they say that the timing is so perfect that it seems that Takuto saw the future. Takuto wants to tell them that it is just a coincidence, but in the end, he decides to just enjoy the praise. Soon after that, it is time to summon the hero, and all the resources for the summoning are gathered at the altar. Everyone is eager to see the summoning, and Takuto is the most excited one because it reminds him of the days he used to save up materials to summon heroes in the game. Before the summoning, Takuto talks with Atu through telepathy, asking what does she think will happen when they summon Ayla. She is not sure about it because this is the first hero they are summoning, and she hopes that Ayla is obedient to Takuto. However, in case she is hostile, Atu is ready to risk her life to protect her king. Takuto thanks her for always being there with him, but asks her not to risk her life because he can't summon her again if she dies. With that, he begins the summoning ritual, creating a sphere of dark mana that devours all the resources and then transforms into an egg. As the egg cracks, Ayla, the queen of insects, emerges from it. Takuto eagerly watches her, and as Ayla screams loudly, he flinches. Luckily, she is completely devoted to him, and she bows before him to thank him for bringing her into this world. He is glad to see her too and asks if she remembers him. Ayla tells him that she obviously remembers him because her memories from the game are intact, but then Atu steps between them to verify something. She asks Ayla if she is really loyal to Takuto, and the insect queen begins petting her head as she says that she can't be loyal to someone other than her king. Atu gets flustered by this and asks her to stop, but Ayla is more interested in learning about their current situation. Takuto takes her to the palace where he tells her that he was summoned to this world with Atu, and it was thanks to her that they made it so far. Atu is really flattered on hearing this, and the two of them start flirting. Ayla tells them to get a room before she tells Takuto that she will take up the role of protecting their kingdom as he ordered her to, and the one going to help Dragonton will be Atu. Atu is already feeling lonely because she is going to be far away from Takuto, and he says that he doesn't know if he can function properly without her support. Meanwhile, Ayla just watches over them and ships them together like an old granny. The next day, Atu gets ready to depart for Dragonton along with Molter and his students. She bids an emotional goodbye to Takuto, and once she is gone, Ayla says that she should also start working. Her first task is to become Takuto's temporary secretary, and unlike Atu, she is quite strict. She tells Takuto that he cannot be sleeping till noon because he is the king and his people look up to him. Marina and Karina are surprised by the difference between Atu and Ayla, but they vibe with both of them, so it is cool. After that, Ayla asks Takuto's permission to take the twins along with her so that they can give her a tour of their facilities. Takuto gives her the permission, and just as Ayla and the twins leave, Emily comes there with her report on labor reassignments. Takuto gets nervous as he receives the report because it is his first time dealing with the elves without Atu around. He somehow manages to talk to Emily properly and give her suggestions to make the distribution of their workers more efficient, but that leaves him exhausted. However, his work is not over yet, and Gia immediately comes there with his report. On the other hand, the twins are giving Ayla a tour of their town when Emily comes there. She seems to be in a hurry, but as soon as she sees Ayla, she starts complaining about Gia, who breaks the training equipment every time and puts a heavy burden on her. She rests against Ayla's arthropod melons as she cries about how much work she has to do since Molter went away, and Ayla gently comforts her, saying that she will scold Gia later. A few minutes later, they go to the training ground, where everyone is training normally, but just as Gia enters there, he breaks everyone's training sword with a swift move. He tells them to get better because they can't protect the country like this, but then Ayla towers over him, telling him that they need to check their supplies before that. Gia is intimidated and apologizes for getting carried away, and Universal Mommy Ayla starts giving him head pats as she tells him that he will become a better warrior if he becomes calm and mature. Just then, she hears an alarm, and the twins tell her that it is time for lunch. They take her along to the community kitchen where everyone eats, and the elves have taken out premium utensils for Ayla. However, she sits down with the rest of the elves to eat. Everyone thinks that she is their superior, so she should be treated better. But Ayla tells them that she is a guardian hero, and she can only protect the people of Minogra if she lives with them and understands them. Just then, the twins come there with some custom-made wooden cutlery for her, and Ayla gladly accepts their gift. She hugs the girls and gives them head pats that they had been secretly craving all this time. Later at night, she patrols the town while planning how to improve its defenses, when she hears someone crying. She immediately checks out the treehouse to find that it is Karina who is sobbing and Marina is trying to console her. Isla asks them what happened and Karina says that she can't sleep because she keeps having dreams of the happier times when their mom was alive. When she wakes up, she realizes those dreams can never come true again and she starts crying every time. The twins tell her that they are slowly getting over it and Isla doesn't need to worry about them, but she has a better idea. She hugs the girls, telling them that she will sleep with them from now on, so that when they wake up, they have her by their side. The next day, Isla visits Takuto with her report. She suggests that they build a school next because it will help with improving their research speed and also for promoting their units. She also suggests planting a grass called the living reed at the borders, which serves as a wall and deals damage to anyone who tries to enter by force. Next, she decides to lay some eggs that will give birth to worker insects and Takuto is pleased by all those ideas. Isla then asks him about Atu, and he uses his shared sensibility to find that she is just about to fight a group of monsters. The monsters rush towards the city wall, but Atu sends her tentacles to end their lives in a flash. Mayor Antic is with her too, and she is absolutely horrified on seeing Atu's power. She begins stammering as she tells Atu about her good relation with the twins, hoping that it will make the monstrous woman see her in a more positive light. Atu understands what has got Antic crapping her pants, so she asks her to take a break. She assures her that she can take care of the problem herself and Antic immediately excuses herself. After a while, Atu takes a break from monster hunting and one beastman offers her some juice. Molter remarks that she has started to fit in nicely with the people here. Initially, he thought that everyone would be really scared of her, but thanks to Pepe, that did not happen. Atu gets pissed as she hears Pepe's name because when he saw her tentacles earlier, he called her an octopus. Atu was low-key pissed when everyone started calling her an octopus, but before she could lash out at Pepe, he told her to protect the city while he goes to the main kingdom to report the matter. Even now, Atu can only sulk about that, but then Molter asks her about the skill harvest. She tells him that she has gathered a lot of useful skills from the monsters and Molter says that Takuto will be pleased to hear that. Atu gets excited on hearing that and says that she wants him to praise her a lot, when suddenly she senses another monster coming towards them. This time, it is a hill giant, and Molter checks for any magic that is controlling it. He can't find anything abnormal with the mana of the hill giant, and Atu says that they need to figure out the source of this problem quickly if they want to return to their kingdom. Just then, Antic comes there running to inform them about the hill giant. She says that their soldiers are getting ready to fight it, but Atu tells her to relax because she can deal with one hill giant on her own. She rushes ahead and then Molter decides to assist her because he doesn't like sitting idly. He uses a military-grade magic spell called Land of Ruin, giving Atu terrain advantage while greatly debuffing the hill giant. Atu uses the Holy Sword skills to cut through the hill giant in one slash, but then something really surprising happens. The monster's body vanishes, leaving behind gold coins instead. Atu immediately contacts Takuto about this strange occurrence. She says that even Molter has not seen or heard about anything like this, and neither can he identify the coins. Takuto links his vision with Atu to see the coins, and he recalls that they are from another game he played that was called Brave Questus. Just then, a huge army of monsters begins approaching the city, commanded by a rock giant and a malnutritioned Kratos who gave up his blades in exchange for magic. Takuto can see that too, and he tells Atu to be careful, because this time, they are facing enemies from an RPG. At the same time, far in the north, Saintess Selena is leading a group of knights to hunt the witch named Isekai'd. As they reach a destroyed village, Selena begins looking for the signs of the witch, when suddenly, her men are hit by simultaneous headshots, dying on the spot. As she wonders what is going on, Isekai'd comes there, and proudly declares that she is going to win this time. Selena is disgusted to see her because she has killed Isekai'd 17 times already, and she has always come back to life, creating more trouble for her and the kingdom. She doesn't understand how the witch can always return to life, and Isekai'd says that she can't understand how the Saintess can easily kill her each time. Isekai'd tries stalling the Saintess, but she figures out that she is planning something, forcing her to reveal her hand. Isekai'd summons her army of zombies to attack Selena, but she uses her power to summon holy flames, burning away the zombies. Isekai'd panics because she realizes she can't win against the Saintess this time as well. Selena dashes towards her, piercing her with her staff, and Isekai'd curses the game for being too hard to beat. She dies with that, but Selena wonders how long will it be till she has to face this crazy witch again. On the other hand, Takuto tells Atu more about the RPG named Brave Quests, in which their goal is to take down the Demon King. The monsters in that game spawn randomly and attack without warning, and he thinks that is why they couldn't find the source of monsters attacking Dragonton. He says that it makes sense that there are units from different games in this world if they are here, because they already know about witches that were not present in their game. Isla says that since Takuto has played Brave Quests, they have the advantage of knowing about their enemy. He agrees and decides to share the details about the enemy and the winning strategy with Atu. Meanwhile, the two demon generals get orders from the Demon King to use any means necessary to conquer the world. Ice Rock says that they are fortunate that even when they came to this new world, small monsters like goblins and orcs still gather under the flag of the Demon King. Kratos from Temu, also known as Flamin, agrees with him, and then Ice Rock orders the monsters to destroy the city and spread suffering among the citizens in the name of the Demon Lord. With that, the monsters charge towards the city, and Ice Rock decides to join them. Flamin tells him that he will sit back for now, but he has another goal in his mind. However, as the monsters reach close to the city, Molter casts the military magic spell Land of Ruin over a wide area. The monsters begin to suffer because of that, but high-level demons like Ice Rock and his magician assistant become even more powerful. They wonder what is this weird spell, and the magician says that maybe it is the work of the chosen hero. Ice Rock gets furious at him for saying that because they don't use the H word. Suddenly, Atu stabs the magician with a surprise attack and then boldly approaches Ice Rock, identifying him from the details that Takuto told her. Ice Rock asks her who the hell is she, and Atu introduces herself as a character from the game called Eternal Nations, and declares that she will kill every last one of her enemies. At the same time, the residents of Dragonton are trying to hold the monster army back by shooting arrows at them, but that doesn't do any damage. Antic tells the soldiers to keep shooting the enemies to stall them, and she plans to use the time they buy to evacuate the residents. She decides to abandon the city, but Molter tells her that there is no need for that because they will win. Antic has decided not to trust anyone who says, "Nah, I'd win," but Molter points towards the explosions on the battlefield. He says that Atu is already fighting the enemy leader, and once she takes him down, the entire monster army will be easy to defeat. Meanwhile, in the battlefield, Ice Rock sends ice spikes to hit Atu, but she dodges everything as she charges towards him. She fails to hit him with the Holy Sword, but manages to take down a good number of monsters around her. This all thanks to Takuto's advice, who told her to use wide area skills. In Brave Quests, both heroes and villains have small range skills for one-on-one battles, but in Eternal Nations, they fight as armies and have much bigger ranged skills, which gives them a huge advantage. Ice Rock asks Atu why is she standing against them when she is a demon herself. He asks her to join the Demon Lord's army and conquer the world, but she refuses, saying that she is too busy running just a small kingdom, so she can't handle the stress of the entire world. Ice Rock doesn't even understand what she is saying, and Atu realizes that he is just a mid-level boss in a small RPG game that exists only to be defeated. Ice Rock doesn't even know what RPG means, but Atu says that he must remember being defeated by the hero over and over again. This sentence hurts the fragile heart of the giant demon, and he begins attacking Atu in rage. She easily blocks everything and taunts him further, and Ice Rock unleashes his ultimate attack on her. Atu thinks that she can easily dodge his slow attack, but then she finds that her legs are frozen as a side effect of the enemy attack. She tries to block the ultimate skill, but ends up getting hit. A black sludge flows out from her injured shoulder, but that is not enough to kill her. Atu immediately stabs the demon with her tentacles, killing it on the spot and turning it into a bunch of coins. However, she is not proud of her victory, but ashamed that she got injured. Her injuries heal immediately though, but she throws a tantrum, saying that she should not have been hit by that stupid and slow attack. Just then, her system tells her that she has acquired the ultimate skill of Ice Rock, that never misses. Atu finally realizes why she got frozen, and she understands what it is like to fight enemies from different game genres. Anyway, she is pleased that the battle is over and contacts Takuto to inform him of her victory. But then she gets the shocking news that the other half of the monster army led by General Flamin has reached Minagra already. A dark elf soldier immediately runs to Takuto's office to report that the enemies have entered their territory. But Takuto tells him to calm down because he knows everything that happens in his domain. Isla also tells the soldier to calm down because they have the situation under control and Gia and other important officials are already on the move. The soldier immediately returns to his post, and the twins ask Takuto if they are in trouble. He tells them that they will be fine as long as he and Isla are here, but he feels a little anxious about it. Isla says that she didn't expect the enemies to attack their kingdom either, and she asks Takuto what should they do now because the Demon Lord might be a player just like him. Takuto replies that it doesn't matter if the Demon Lord is a player or not because he made a mistake by attacking their kingdom, and now they are going to crush him. With that, they depart for the battlefield and Takuto begins counting their forces. Their main combat unit is Isla, and then there are the elf soldiers under Gia's leadership. The medics also have decent fighting ability on top of their healing abilities. And finally, they have the larvae that Isla gave birth to. Isla says that she bred those larvae just for labor, but with her buffing them up, they can perform decently in combat. Just then, Takuto gets a message from Enlei, telling him that she has evacuated all the non-combatants. Shortly after that, he gets another message, this time from Gia, who tells him that they have found that the enemies have around 1,000 soldiers, including goblins and orcs. There are also some strange creatures he has never seen before, and Takuto tells him to keep defending the capital while he finalizes his strategy. After that, Takuto thinks that there are high chances a demon general is leading the army, and that can be a problem. He quickly comes up with a strategy and Isla thinks that he is going to mass-produce fighter units with the mana they have stockpiled to cover the gap between them and the enemy. However, Takuto's real plan is something else. He immediately grants all the excess mana his kingdom has gathered over the past few weeks to Isla, making her level up like crazy so that she can unlock the skills called Predation and Parasitic Eggs. Takuto tells Isla to use her skills to annihilate the enemy forces, and she replies that she is honored that he chose to entrust the kingdom's defense to her. Takuto says that after watching the battle at Dragonton, he figured out that Isla is the strongest unit on his side that can deal with the enemies, and now that she has leveled up, it should be easy for her. Isla gets ready to attack the demon army, but Takuto warns her to watch out for attacks that follow RPG logic. Isla remembers how Atu was caught off guard, and promises to be careful as she flies off to the enemy location. Meanwhile, the elite soldiers of the Demon Lord's army are wondering why are they even here. One of them says that the Demon Lord probably doesn't even know that Flamen is leading the troops here. The Flame Knight is shocked to hear this, and the Demon Wizard tells him that Flamen is probably trying to betray the Demon Lord. As he starts telling him the spicy gossip he has heard, they spot someone approaching them, but it is just an ogre they sent to scout the region. However, the ogre has weird bumps all over his body, and he looks like he is in a lot of pain. The elite warriors are on their guard, and they tell him to stay back. But then suddenly, the bumps on the ogre's body explode and small larvae shoot out of it towards the demons. The demons have a hard time dealing with them, and they decide to retreat when they hear Isla's voice, telling them that she is disappointed in the demon army if they can't handle even this much. The demons wonder where the voice is coming from, and then Isla climbs down from a tree, ready to pounce on them. She makes quick work of all the demons and eats them to increase her power, but she finds that they are not even a good source of protein. Just then, the demon general Flamen arrives there, and he is quite surprised to see all his troops defeated. He asks Isla to introduce herself before revealing that he is one of the 4 demon generals, and Isla is happy to hear that because was looking forward to fight him. She says that she knew there would be an enemy of very high level leading the army just like Ice Rock at Dragonton. Flamen realizes that Ice Rock is already dead, but he is not really sad about that. He tells Isla that Ice Rock was the weakest of the 4 generals, and also the dumbest, so she should not compare him with that brute. She tells him that it doesn't matter how strong he is because he will also lose, and Flamen doesn't like that statement. The two of them keep taunting each other, but then Flamen says that he will drag Takuto down from his throne, and that is the line for Isla and her cute but creepy larvae. Flamen activates his fire power and charges towards Isla, and Takuto can see the battle in real time because of the shared senses. He finds that the only interesting thing on the battlefield right now is the fight between Isla and Flamen. Her larvae are on patrol duty and taking down any enemy that is lost in the forest, while Gia and his soldiers are defending the city border from the enemies that reach them. The medics are also standing by and everything seems fine, but Takuto feels like he is missing something. He asks the twins if they noticed something, and they don't have any idea either. Meanwhile, Flamen and Isla are still fighting and Isla keeps pushing him back with her swift attacks. Flamen calls her a monster, and she gets offended by that, so she summons her larvae to jump his ass. However, the demon just burns through them in a second, and then summons a bunch of monsters to assist him. Isla calls that cheating, but then she asks Flamen if she can get an answer to one question. He immediately shoots some fireballs towards her, telling her that they are in the middle of a death battle. Isla deflects all his attacks with the help of her larvae and then stabs the ground with her stinger, pumping some larvae into the ground. She says that her king wants to know why is the demon lord even attacking them, and then her larvae dig their way into the bodies of Flamen's minions, eating them from the inside out before darting towards him. He immediately burns them using a wall of fire, and Isla resumes her ruthless assault. Flamen dodges everything and says that either her king is hiding the truth from her, or he is stupid and doesn't know anything himself. He then asks Isla what does she think about herself, and she doesn't understand her question. He throws a burning punch at her while telling her to answer the question with the first thing that comes to her mind. Isla blocks it and replies that she is the protector hero of Minagra and the servant of King Takuto, and that pisses off Flamen. He suddenly realizes that the reason he instinctively hates Isla is because she chose to serve her king out of free will, and she is proud to do so. Isla also understands his situation now, and she asks if he is just a puppet that is controlled by the demon lord. Flamen can't deny that allegation, and he releases his full power, declaring that if he can kill everyone here, he will be free from the demon lord's control. He creates a flame pillar that reaches the sky and sends it after Isla. She tries to dodge it, but the flame attack follows her around till it hits her. Flamen rejoices that he has won the fight, but he is shocked to see that Isla protected herself by wrapping her body in a cocoon. She taunts the demon, asking if this is all he has got, and he shoots swords made of flame towards her. Isla dodges everything, and then Flamen suddenly runs out of mana after spamming all those attacks. Isla deals damage to him, and Flamen remembers the demon lord talking about how he would be free if he conquered this world and offered it to some entity. Flamen realizes that he was just acting like his puppet all along, and now he is going to die without obtaining anything. Isla slashes his body into two, and Takuto immediately calls her to congratulate her on the victory. He asks her to return to the capital now, and as Isla tells him that she just leveled up after winning the fight, the call abruptly ends. Both Isla and Takuto find that they can't communicate with each other, and the next moment, Isla finds the twins in front of her. They have no idea how they reached here because they were with Takuto just now, and Isla panics, thinking that they are in danger. She orders her larvae to protect the twins, unaware that Flamen is still alive. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.